Hey guys, what's up? This is Nick Shane, and I want to welcome you to my Master's DVD program. Now, in this program, you're going to learn two things. The first one is going to be how do you crack the hidden code of the dating game? Because let me tell you something. When I first started out, I had absolutely no clue what works with women. And once I found out, I knew what I was looking for. So, if you don't know what already works with women, you have absolutely no idea what to look out for, okay? You don't know these small subtleties that will, screw it up for you sometimes and that make you trip over your dick a couple times. And those things will drive you nuts if you don't know what's really going on. So in this one part, I will definitely figure on this because I want you to be able to crack that code for yourself, like Neo did in the Matrix. And I want you to see behind the scenes what's going on in the background. What is a woman thinking? What is she going to do? So you're always 2 steps ahead of her, okay? And my second part will be, I want to reveal to you my personal game plan of what I do specifically to meet attracting the woman I want. Now, let me tell you another funny thing. Every single guy out there who meets women, who gets phone numbers and dates, and even gets physical, goes through a specific number of steps. Okay? How do you go from A to B? Imagine this. You want to meet a woman, so you have to walk up, and then you got to get a number, and then you have a date, and then once you get physical, you might decide if you want to have a relationship with her or not. What specifically happens in between those steps? Now, this took me many years to figure out. I knew what works with women. If you read my first couple of ebooks and have been a subscriber of my university and have gotten yourself the advanced series, you know what the different techniques I'm talking about. How do you build attraction? How do you make a woman feel comfortable? How do you get a number? How specifically do you walk up to a woman and what do you say? Okay, those are all different techniques, but there is no system that puts all these techniques together and that will work flawlessly. Now, this is one of the main problems I see these guys make. They don't have a bulletproof system that they can use every single time and it works. Now, some of the techniques that will slot into this system perfectly, okay? You won't have to relearn all these different techniques. You've already done that. You're already good with attraction. You're already good with seducing women or get a date or get a phone number. But there is no system that connects all these dots and that will tell you what you have to do at each step. Or what do you have to do if a woman does this? Or what do you have to do if a woman does that? What's the next step? Okay, this has always been a problem for me once I started out. I tell you what, many years ago when I found out about the secrets to attraction, how to attract women, that you shouldn't be nice, that you should be different, that you should be cocky and a little bit arrogant and funny, I was like, wow, aha. Now I got something that works. So I just did that. But there's a lot of problems that come with it. A lot of little, small subtleties that just screwed it up for me all the time. Not all the time, but a lot of times, and it drove me nuts. I swear to God. And this is what I want to be focused on today in this program. I want to tell you absolutely everything that I picked up on my way to become good with women and dating. Because there's a lot of small things that you have no idea yet what you should do. So, let me give you an example. When you create attraction, okay? Women laugh, women may giggle, and women may smile, but after a while she may just leave. And you start scratching your head and go like, what the hell just happened? You did everything right, but she just left. Why? Now that's a small subtlety. That's a small thing that has to be fixed because let me tell you, even though you may know how to attract women, there's a lot of small things you may still do wrong. And so we have to fix them. And another thing might be you just can't get past the first or the second date. You know why? We're going to be talking about that as well. In fact, we're going to talk about a lot of things, and one of the main things I do want to talk about is the game plan. And this is something, you can go on my website and check out this little graph I put there. Here it is again. Now this graph is the work of, I would say about 7-8 years. It's taken me a long time to figure this out, and I want you to be aware of that. And you should have one yourself. If you don't have one, we're going to be working on yours. So let's talk about some of the problems before we go any further. Some of the problems you may have had in the past, and that's why you're here at this program. Okay, now let me give you a couple examples of some of the most frustrating things that may have happened on your journey of becoming successful with women. Probably the biggest one, I would say, is that you can't make attraction stick. Now, that's the one I mentioned earlier, and it's when you see a woman smile, giggle, laugh, have a good time, but after a while, they just go like, you know, it was very nice talking to you. We have to go now. Bye. You know, that sucks. I mean, it really sucks because you know you've done everything right, but they just don't want to stick around. So what's going on? What's going on here? So we're definitely going to talk about this more in depth. Now, another big frustrating part of the dating game is when you know what works with women and you still get the old, you know, you're just a nice guy, but let's just be friends instead, okay? Now that sucks. Now that really sucks. Imagine this. You know what works with women. You know how attraction works. You did everything right, or so you think you did, and then a woman says, you know, let's just be friends. And that is really bad. And it's not such a bad thing because I'm going to tell you why you can do everything right and it will still happen. So I will break this down for you as well in this program because it's still a big part, because I still get a lot of guys emailing me, hey Nick, I still get this old problem. How do you fix it? And yeah, another big thing is, you know, when you get a number from a woman and after 1 or 2 days or after 1 day you decide to give her a call and you get the answering machine when you leave a message, or you decide to send her a text message and she does not return a call immediately or doesn't send you a text message back. Now you go nuts. Now every single minute it drives you insane. And you sit there by your phone and go like, oh man, I really want her to call me back. When is she going to call back? Now obviously this puts the power into the woman's hands because you don't want to look desperate and call again. So I'm going to tell a lot of tricks how you can avoid that problem to happen. That gives you the power back into your hands when you can decide what's going on and what the next step will be. Okay, that's a big thing. So I'm going to tell you everything about that. And it just so happens that those kind of women that we all want are very beautiful and attractive. But it just so happens that these kinds of women are very bitchy and arrogant and a little bit, snobby. And you think, man, she's such a bitch. But they're not. But you just can't smash their bitch shield. And I may have given you a couple lines, a couple pointers, how you can make sure that they don't give you the cold shoulder anymore. But in this programs, I really want to focus on bringing you behind the scenes and showing you what is actually going on, why are they so bitchy, why do they act that way, and how you can make up your own stuff and smash through that barrier. if you know what I'm saying. So this will be cool. This will be really, really cool. And I got also a couple guys telling me that they have problems with getting a woman come to their house. Now the most obvious ones is, I think I give you a couple ideas what you can do. You just say, hey, look, I'm really hungry. Let's go have some food at my place. Or you rent a DVD and say, hey, look, I got this cool DVD. You want to go watch it? And a lot of times the woman just says, well, no, maybe another time. And it drives you crazy because you thought you did everything right, but you didn't. And this is where still a lot of guys struggle because they can't finish the deal. They can't get a woman to come to their place to take things physical and escalate and, you know, take things to the next level. And that's a big problem because it's really frustrating when you got a number, you had a date, but you can't take it further. So we have to look into this as well. Now, another big problem that a lot of guys have still seems to be approaching. And this is something I talked about a lot in my ebooks and in my advanced series, but still, whenever you see a woman, your heart is still pounding, and you know your knees are shaking. You go like, "Oh man, I don't really feel comfortable with this." And hey, I gotta tell you the truth here. Even I get nervous sometimes when I'm about to approach a woman. But the difference that will separate the guys who will actually do it and the guys who would not do it is very, very small. And again, there are very, very small subtleties and little tweaks that you can do that will make quantum leaps in your game. And again, it took me a long time to figure these ones out. And once you know what they are, you can implement them right away, and you will see improvements just like that. And you will be able to get over your fear and hesitation and actually get rid of it. And this is the most important thing. You will be able to get rid of it. But you need to put in the work, though, obviously. And another thing is, this is what I also want to focus on, because this is what I believe the ultimate goal is. It's, some guys may want to have multiple girlfriends and, you know, a lot of one-night stands, and hey, this is fine, you know, whatever makes you happy. But bottom line is that you want to know how to get and keep the woman of your dreams. And once you come across that special woman, you want to be able to get her and make her your girlfriend, so you can have a long-term relationship with her. And this is the most fulfilling thing, or one of the most fulfilling things in life. And one big part is that you know how to attract and meet new women, so you'll never run out. And you have the skill, and it's invaluable. Its value is its weight in gold, if you can say it that way. But another big skill is, how can you keep that special woman and make her a permanent girlfriend? So this is what we're going to talk about a lot. And a lot of guys still have problems and still don't know how to do that precisely. And all those problems and many, many more is what we're going to focus on this program. It's all about the little tweaks and the overall picture that I want to talk about, because this is one of the most important things. How to crack the dating code and look behind the scenes so you can actually read what's going on, and the game plan, what brings everything together and connects all the dots of the puzzle. So all these two things, they'll match perfectly and then interlace perfectly together, and this is what we're going to talk about in this program. Okay, before we dive into this program in full, I quickly want to talk about how this particular program will benefit you and why it's so important for you. Now, as you can see, we'll talk about two main things: the dating code and the game plan. And the dating code is so important because once you know how to read between the lines and go beyond or behind the stages, what's actually going on in a woman's mind and where she's at, then you know what to look out for. And once you see, for example, a woman kind of drifting away, losing interest, you'll be able to pull her back. Just like that, because you know what to look out for. Yeah? And this is the difference between those guys who never reach the finish line, and those guys who will pass the finish lines multiple times over and over and over again. Because they know what to look out for, and they know when to change direction into the right one. They know how to adjust it. They know when to go from one day to the next. They know maybe they have to tweak certain things in their game to make a woman feel more comfortable. They may realize, oh, maybe she's not as attracted to me as she could be, so I'll heat up the attraction a little bit more. Or when it gets to, let's go to my house, she may, decide, okay, no, let's just stay in town just a little bit longer until she trusts me a little bit more. Those are small subtleties, but if you don't know how this dating call looks like, and you don't know how to read it, then you don't know what to look out for. You can't even notice those small subtleties I was talking about earlier. You don't know when to adjust or how to tweak it. And this is so important for you, because this will make the difference between success and failure. Okay? And the other thing is the game plan. And I gotta tell you the truth, this is what it represents the cream of my work. This is what I've been working on for all these years. How do you connect all those techniques that work with women into a full system that work universally? Because every guy out there, he does exactly the same things. He will pass through stage 1, and then stage 2, and then 3, and so forth. But he doesn't jump. There's no such thing. That's what I've been trying to tell you all that time. This system is universal. Every single guy does it, yet 90% of guys don't know it exists and keep making mistakes because they may start at stage 2 and then just rush all the way, and they may have forgotten certain parts. Attraction, for instance. They're asking for a number when the woman is not even attracted to them. So the question is, okay, how do I make a woman attracted to you? Those are the small things. So the game plan really represents those important stages that you must walk through before you can get a number, get a date, get a kiss, have a relationship with a woman. That's what's so important, and that's what I see every single every single day. All these guys out there, they're missing the point. They ask me questions like, oh yeah, I know this girl. She's told me that she already has a boyfriend, but we can still be friends. How do I fix this? He doesn't see that those stages in the game plan, like attraction, you need to have those with that woman. Otherwise, there's no point in continuing, right? So you got to backtrack. Or you want to ask a woman out. And the question is, how do you ask a woman out? Well, this is really easy. You just go, hey, listen now, you want to go to town with me tomorrow? But this won't work if the woman doesn't think you're interesting or sexy and there's no attraction. Because the first stage or the first couple stages have not even been completed. Do you know what I'm saying? So this game plan is so important because it makes sure that you do everything in the right order. If you don't, it will screw up. So those two things are what distinguishes the successful guys and the guys who will get rejected and just can't take it anymore. There's a lot of head cases out there, and there's a lot of sadness, and people, they feel frustrated and lonely, and they can't get a woman. And it would be so easy. It would be so easy if you just told them what works, how to do it, and what to do in each order, and then tweak it. So this is what we're going to talk about in this program, and I highly suggest that you get yourself a pen and a notepad and write all the important things down so you know how to implement those things into your game and into your personality, because yeah, this is what we're going to do. And anyway, I'd suggest you get yourself a beer, get yourself something to eat, some snacks, lean back, and just enjoy the rest of the program. Okay, guys, now what I want to focus on is I want to teach you, or give you a little bit more of background information of how I personally started out and how I got good with women in dating. Because I didn't have it easy. When I started out, man, it was really, really tough. And so I want to go behind the scenes a little bit and show you what happened to me in my early life. And you'll get to know some of my personal struggles. And you see how my personal struggles were not that much different than maybe your struggles. And this will help you see a lot of the connections we may have. And a lot of guys out there have the same problems. And so you'll get to see how it is because I'm not the only guy that's been brought up in this certain way and had to go through all this path and journey through life until it becomes good with women. Okay, I put in a lot of hard works, granted, and I've done a lot of the nitty-gritty stuff, and I had to go and endure a lot of rejections to get to the point where I am today. And you have the benefit now of learning from me directly, so you don't have to go through all that hard work. But hey, that's good, ain't it? Anyway, so what I want to do is I want to give a little bit more of background information of how I started out, because I think this is very, very helpful to you, so you see the similarities between us two. All right, now a lot of guys, they already know. Okay, I was born in California, and I was brought up in a very conservative way. Okay, it means you got to go to Sunday school. Your parents teach you a lot of good things, like good values, morals, being nice to people, respectful, always be polite, have good manners, respect your neighbor, and be generally good to people, so these people will be good to yourself as well. Okay, so you probably know what I'm talking about. And, to make a little cut here, this is what I truly believe is one or the roots of all evil when it comes to women and dating or life, basically. And one of them is your upbringing, and the other one is society at large. And those two are what I believe the reasons why a lot of guys out there are so crap with women. I mean, it's not their fault. It's the way they've been shaped in the past, from a very early and young age on, and then how they progress through life and society, and other people keep telling them, yeah, you should do this and that. And hey, it would work. Be nice to people, be good, be respectful, so they will be respectful towards you, and be good if you're good to them. But this only works in this bubble, and it's kind of a fake bubble, if you know what I mean, because outside that bubble, what I call the real world, hey, it's a really shitty place, and things don't work the way you want them to work, and that's why the rules change. So I'll give you a little bit of my life stories. When I started out, I was brought up in a conservative way. I was told that you should be good to people, be respectful, and when it comes to girls, just make sure that she's having the time of her life, don't push her, just be yourself, and everything will be good, and treat her nice, and, pay for everything, and that was from a very early young age on. And when you get to school, and then, you're trying the best, and you don't really know what's happening, and your moms keep telling you, yeah, so you have a girlfriend yet? And you go, and you're kind of getting shy and embarrassed, and then you kind of know your mom is going to keep telling all her friends and stuff, going to be really proud, oh, he's got a girlfriend, blah, 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 blah. And, that just kind of puts gasoline on fire, if you know what I mean. it doesn't really work, because at the end of the day, it just screws it out for you. And this is the way a lot of guys have been brought up, in a very conservative way, and making a big deal out of women, and oh, he's got a girlfriend, he's going out with this girl, and then your mom keeps telling you, oh, so you're being nice to that woman, yeah, and you're being nice to that girl, have you kissed her yet? And then your sister keeps poking you as well, and you feel uncomfortable with all this, because it's something that you don't really talk about at home and at school, and a lot of people make a big deal out of it, yeah, because it's something unnatural, or something that not a lot of people do. And this is and even in Sunday school, you don't really talk about these things. And I think I did an interview with a guy, and he said exactly the same things. In conservative areas and neighborhoods, and people go to Sunday school, and they don't talk about that stuff, okay? They don't talk about the most natural thing. And then you think it's an awkward thing, and then you have to do it in a certain way that you're not really sure about, because nobody can really tell you what works. They just keep telling you what you should do. Okay, there's a big difference. And okay, well, let's just sum this up. Basically, if you're being brought up in that way, it doesn't work. Okay, you're still at zero when you leave school. And the other problem is the society at large. Hollywood movies, television, magazines, all that stuff that influences your perception. All these sources come in and keep telling you, oh, be nice to women, be polite, just be yourself, blah, 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 blah. And you go like, okay, well, that must be the way then, because all these people say that's what I should do. But in reality, it doesn't work. So, back to myself, when I was in school, I had my first girlfriend, and like so many guys who have their first girlfriends, they been introduced by friends of friends, or like a small social circle, and I think we've been out for about 8 months or so, and I did absolutely everything for it. I was in high school. I remember I bought flowers. I sent her text messages, oh, I love you, and oh, I think you're really hot and beautiful, and do you want to go to the cinema, and those kind of things that kind of work when you're in school. And after a while, those things were up very fast, because women still their natural instincts kick in and go well, hold on, wait a second, this guy's nice and stuff, but somehow I'm not really that attracted to him. And well, the way things were, it just ended, right? Well, I think you're a really nice guy, but maybe we should just be friends. Okay, that was after a while, and heartbroken and everything, and you're like, man, I thought I did everything right. All these people told me, be nice, be respectful. I don't think I've ever been bad to her, so why is she leaving me? Yeah, there would not have been one single reason in the world that gave her an excuse to say, okay, well, let's just quit, because I was good. I was respectful. I gave her space. And being all that good just didn't help. Now, you already know that story, what happens when you're being nice and stuff. And so I was like, man, that really sucked. So I really thought I did everything right. So let's just fast forward a bit. And then I think it was about a year or so after high school that I sat down one afternoon. That was just before going to college. And I was like, man, something just doesn't work. What's wrong? Everybody kept telling me there's nothing wrong with me. Just be nice, be good, be respectful, give women space, buy them drinks. Don't give them an excuse to not like you. So, make sure that they like you. And, give them a feeling that you care about them, chase them a little bit. That kind of stuff. And it didn't work. And I was like, okay, well, hold on a second. Let's just sit down for a moment. All these things, they don't work. They have not worked in the past for me. So I must be doing something wrong, because women don't get attracted to me sexually. They don't want to be with me. They just think, oh, yeah, he's a nice guy, but just as a friend. So all this goodness I was giving away, that I've been taught, like from my parents and from school and even society, it doesn't work. Okay, you see the good guy in movies getting the girl. You see, the prince getting the princess. And I was like, yeah, well, that's it. That's how it works. But somehow it didn't. So I sat down. Okay, let's just try one more thing. Let's just do it the opposite way. Okay, that was when my first small breakthrough happened. Okay, instead of chasing women, I was like, okay, well, hold on a second. Why not let them chase me? Instead of buying them drinks, why not tell them that they can buy me a drink? Instead of being good, let's try being bad. And I was like, wow. Just like that. There was like a world difference. Like day and night. Man, I went from being a complete loser to like getting all these women all of a sudden being interested in me and giggling when I was around, or whenever I made like a comment that was kind of being bad and kind of arrogant. They started getting attracted to me, and I was like, wow, this works. And another thing that fueled this whole this revelation was that I saw all these other guys who are they were assholes and jerks and abusive idiots to women. The women somehow chose them over me. And this just didn't make any sense. So I was like, okay, let's just try being bad for an instance, okay? And somehow it worked. And it worked really, really well. But deep down below, I still felt that this wasn't me. Being a real jerk towards women was not really me. Because there was still something left of, good values and morals and being respectful to women and not being a complete asshole. But somehow that's not what women are attracted to. So I have to adjust my approach a little bit. And you already know, the whole story about that, right? And so let's just fast forward a little bit more. I went to college. And, that's where my first big breakthrough happened. Because I managed to step out of this bubble. Okay, now first you're still in school. You may have lived with your parents as well. Go to school, come back, when you're in high school. And you live with your parents. And you're still captured in this whole... It's kind of a box, You're not living in the real world. That's what happens to a lot of teenagers. They still don't know what happens in the real world. Some of the really actual stuff that's going on. And you don't realize what's actually going on until you step out of your house and leave your home. Going to college was my first experience. And then, that's just when I went crazy. I swear to God. I went out about 5 times in a week, man. And I missed all my classes. I hustled, I played, I went to nightclubs. I ended up with like 7 phone numbers in one night. And just because I turned the tables. Okay? I did not know anything about players or womanizers or playboys. That was like my first big breakthrough because I had all the time in the world. I managed to step out of that bubble and actually see with my own eyes what's going on in the real world and apply some of my stuff. Not in high school, not in a small social circle, but in the real world. You can go to bars, you can go to nightclubs, you can step out, you can go to college parties, house parties, alcohol, etc., etc., etc. You know what I'm saying? And, I was starting to get the hang of it. I started to get good with women. I mean, that was day and night difference, man. I was getting really good. And the only problem was, if I was to fail my exams, my dad would have killed me. For real. So I had to figure out a way how I somehow still passed. So it wasn't until one fateful afternoon in class, I stumbled in, absolutely was hungover and didn't sleep for like 3 hours, woke up in a different bed, and I just stumbled in and just sat down. I was like 45 minutes late, and then some of the guys behind me, they were like, yeah, Nick, what's up, man? You been, where you been tonight? Or last night? And then I was like, oh, don't even mention it. And after class, they were like, hey, come here for a second. And I'm like, yeah, what's up? And they asked me, so how do you do it all the time? And I was like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? And I'm like, with women, we know what's going on. We see you with 2 different women per day and get all these phone numbers and stuff. And how do you do that? I'm like, well, what exactly do you mean? And I'm always trying to be nice to women and stuff and good and but somehow, it doesn't really work the way you do it. And can you teach me how to do it? I'll write your essays for you. And I was like, okay, that'll do. So from that point on, I swear to God, for the next 2 years, I did not write one single essay or pretty much exams in my college. I had these guys giving me all the answers in return, so I taught them how to be successful with women. That was in college. I'm not kidding. So every afternoon or so, I had to sit down and actually teach them what it is I do, and it was really, really difficult because I did not know what it actually is that I'm doing. Okay? Now, that involved a lot of backtracking and reverse engineering. I didn't know some of those subtle things that what it is that I do that makes me so successful and that attracts women. So I had to backtrack and actually analyze myself what it is I do that works so well. And because I changed something before, that's what differentiates me from other natural players, is that I was really, really shitty at one point with women. And then I got good. And between this transition period, something happened. And I was somehow aware of it, what happened, so I can explain to you what it is I do. Okay, if you go out there and ask every natural player what it is he does that makes him so successful with women in dating, he's somehow not able to explain to you what it is he does. Because he was always successful. That's a hard process. You gotta think the other way around. And so I've written down a lot of stuff. Hold on a second. What is it I do? Okay, instead of being good, try to be bad. So what does that mean? Be bad. What it is you do? And I said, well, first of all, stop buying women drinks. That doesn't work. Be cocky. That was one of the first ones. Be cocky. Be a cheeky fucker, right? And just don't take shit from women. Just do whatever it is you want first, and then kind of be respectful and give a woman space. But you have to put yourself in front of the women. Okay? Now before, everything was, the roles are reversed. Yeah, you did everything for a woman. Now you have to change it. So instead of chasing women, let them chase you. Accuse them of staring at your ass. Accuse them of, just wanting you for your sexy body. And it doesn't even matter if you're big, tall, and buff, or good looking. Just assume you are. Yeah? Look, you see all these guys out there, they're jerks, and they're not even that good looking, but they get all the women. So you gotta ask yourself, well, hold on a second, what is it that they do that makes them so successful? Because they sure ain't looks. Let me tell you that. And that's how it all started out. And, that's how I basically came to this whole teaching thing, how anyone can become successful with women if you teach them the right things. At one point, I believe I was teaching some psychology students how to get good with women because they're not really, good at the whole dating game. And they asked me for some help. And I was like, yeah, okay, well, I'm glad to help you out. But the problem was some of my stuff and some of my theories, so some of what I taught them completely clashed with what their psychology teacher told them. What's happening. And I got into a lot of trouble for that, let me tell you. Basically, they ratted me out. And, I had to meet this guy, and he was like, so, I've been hearing you've been teaching my students some of your theories. I'm like, well, yeah, maybe. And I was like, yeah, well, so I got in a lot of trouble for that, and I had to stop and keep a low profile. And I was like, at that point, I pretty much realized that what I teach even though it clashes with a lot of stuff that's happening out there, it works 10 times better than anything I've ever encountered. And the problem, because it works so well, is if something works that good and is revolutionary, a lot of people will not like it. But that was only to my benefit. So I kind of started keeping a low profile and like stopped teaching people and just went out by myself and just start researching what works best and what not, and start taking my own kind of notes. And it wasn't until one fateful night, I think nobody wanted to go out that night, and I was just by myself. So like, yeah, well, screw you, I'll just go out by myself. And I went to this bar, and I saw this guy there who was jumping from one group of girls to the next, to the next, to the next, like really quickly, right? And whenever he left a group of girls, they were all giggling and smiling, and they kind of trying to drag him back. No, come back, kind of thing. And I was like, holy smokes, what's going on here? And at that night, that was when my second big breakthrough happened. And I'll tell you why. This guy was a real player. I didn't know it at that time. And I know there's a lot of stuff that's been taught, yeah, he's a player, he's really good with women. Now, forget about it. This guy was one of the true greats. And I watched him for about 15 minutes, and I swear to God, this guy was incredible. So I just watched him, and I was like, okay, well, he's good. He's really good. So I walked up to him and said, hey, hey, listen, I've been watching you for like 15 minutes, and you're the shit, man. How do you do that? And I was like, yeah, what do you mean? And I was like, yeah, how do you go from groups of women to the next group, and they just completely love you and want to drag you back? What is it you say? And he's like, well, listen, right? Why do you want to know? And then I told him, well, look, I've been struggling my whole life with women, and now I'm just starting to find out how it somehow works, and then I'm actually starting to get really good at it. And, well, I was just like hoping he could give me some new pointers. And he's like, okay, well, look, forget everything you know. Everything you need to know is right in here. Yeah? Forget everything you know. You already have it. It's all in here. And I was like, well, I don't understand. So he pulled me away, took me to one side and said, okay, look, just watch. Just watch. And here's what he did. There was a girl walking towards him. Yeah. He stops her and says, hey, what's up? Have you ever kissed a black guy before? And before she could even answer, he grabbed her hand and said, okay, let's try it. Walks over to the corner and comes back after like 7 minutes. And he's like, you seen that? That's how easy it is. Rules can be broken. It's all in here. And I was like, my jaw just literally dropped, right? And then another example was, there was this blonde girl, really cute. She was like over there, like standing like near the couch. And he was like, he asked me, so how would you get her? I was like, well, I just woke up. He's like, no. Look, here's what you do, right? So he starts yelling. He goes like, yo, hey, come here for a second. And she turns around and goes like, oh, I don't know, what do you mean? And he keeps insisting, yeah, just come here for a second, come here. So she comes down, and you know what he says? Right out of the blue, he goes like, you got any condoms? Because I don't got any. I'm just kidding. And she's giggling all the way. She's like laughing. He's pulling out the rudest, baddest sex jokes I've ever heard, and the girl is laughing. She's totally into it. I was like, holy smokes, how the hell did that happen? And he just winked at me. And then he starts pulling me to the other side and says, okay, look, see those group of girls over there at the bar? Yeah, they're just waiting to get served. Now, watch this. What would you say? I was like, well, I'll just go say hi. And he said, well, look, don't worry. Just say, those are his words. Say the first thing that comes up in your mind, right? But not the usual crap like, oh, I'm going to buy you a drink, right? Forget about it. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, no, like, she looks like Buffy. You know, the vampire slayer. Yeah, okay, that's good. Let's go try it. And he walks over, puts his arm over her shoulders, like that kind of thing, like leaning over and says, hey guys, what's up? You know you look like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but please don't stab me, right? I'm still a virgin. I swear to God. girls go like, what? I can't believe you just said that, right? And he keeps firing those like cocky jokes, like sexual jokes, and just backs away like, oh, I'm just kidding, I'm just making fun. And the girls totally dig him. I was like, wow. I never even knew how far you could push this envelope. And that's where I believe that was my first big breakthrough happened. Like before, as you can see, like I had absolutely no idea what works with women. You know, just being good and being nice and being taught all those good manners and morals, you know, from the church and your parents and society that I thought would work, but didn't work because they just don't get women attracted to you. And now, when I changed the tables and just did the complete opposite, you know, being cocky, being a bit arrogant, acting like like a little bit of a jerk, and you know, that kind of thing, and make a woman chase you instead of you her. Those things worked, but I had no idea how far you can push this envelope. Yeah? Before, I just thought that those are the rules. Just be yourself. Those are the rules that exist. And you have to follow the rules to get somewhere. With women in life, whatever it is. And then, once I realized they did not work, or don't get you the results you want, I turned the tables and just like, okay, let's do the complete opposite. Let's just break some of the rules. And what I didn't know was that how far you can actually push this. Okay? That was when I believed as I met one of the first like big great players like ever. There's not a lot of them in the world, and there's only like, I would say there's only like a few thousand, 100 out there. And I did not know that all those rules you have cannot just be broken. They can be bent, and they can be adjusted to work in your favor. Do you know what I'm saying? Like in the Matrix, okay? Once you see the code, you can change everything so it works in your favor, okay? Now, I was being bad, I was being cocky, I was being playful. I started getting numbers and dates, and, I was really successful with women, but I had no idea how far this envelope could be pushed and how far you can go. You know how deep the rabbit hole goes? I had no idea. So I was about to find out. Once I met him, I was like, wow, this is how it works. Now I had, what I believe, something that a lot of guys don't have or didn't have. I had actual proof that if you bend the rules and know how to bend them, man, you go further than anybody else out there. And this is what I believe makes me a lot different than all the other guys. I've actually been there and I've done it. And I've got a lot of people I can verify that I know this stuff works and I've seen it work and I applied it. And I'm not just talking out of my ass, if you know what I mean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reveal to like a lot of stuff I discovered. I could only discover this because I went out and actually researched this stuff. And man, there was a lot of funny stories that happened after that because I was already good with women. Now, I was about to get better. I remember this one night, we were at this like a student party or something, and I can't drink alcohol for nothing, man. 2 beers and I'm completely drunk, right? So we walked into this bar, and I think like they made me drink, right? They made me drink about like 1 or 2 beers, and I was really, really drunk already. And they were like, yeah, well, you can't drink anymore. And I was like, no, I'm already drunk. So I started talking to girls everywhere, and basically the bouncers threw me out. And it was Halloween at that night, and people really thought I was really drunk. I only had 2 drinks. So I got thrown out, and those girls I was talking to were like, no, don't throw him out. We still need him for tonight. And I was like, yeah, whatever. So they left with me, and I was completely drunk. I was like, yeah, well, guess what, girls? You got to carry me home now. And they were like, okay. So I didn't know there were twins. Like, no kidding. They're actual twins, and I backed them that night. But I was so drunk, I don't think I can remember a thing. Just in the morning when I woke up. And but after that, I just went crazy. Once I knew that everything was in here, I'll explain to you how it's all in here and inside you like actually works, because that's what it all comes down to. That because you have it in here, and when you see the actual code, you can bend the rules and do things you never imagined would work with women. And I'll show you how to do it. But another thing was, we went to another club at one point. I think it was 2 friends. And there was this huge tall blonde, like at the cigarette machine or something, and everybody was like, wow, man, she's really hot. And nobody actually dared talk to her. And then I was like, well, screw this, I'm going to go talk to her. So I managed to attract her. I think I was being a real asshole at that time. Like everybody was like, yeah, you know, gotta be respectful, gotta be nice, or like just be a little bit cocky. But I was like, nah, that doesn't work. You gotta do this over the top. So I was being really, really arrogant and stuff. And I think I just walked up and I said, you know, what is it I said again? I thought I said she should stop staring at my ass all the time, although she got to buy me a drink or something. And she was like totally into me. And then I think she was like a dancer or something, and she was there with a friend. So anyway, after a long night, I went home with both of them. And I only managed to do this because I managed to bend the rules. And this is what I want to get down to in those Master DVD series, that I want to teach you some really good stuff, because most of you guys already know how to create attraction. Most of you guys already know that you got to be different. And most of you guys already know that you can't do the same shit that everybody else does, otherwise it doesn't work. But here, I want to go beyond that. I want to actually tell you what you can do when you bend the rules in your favor, and I want to take it beyond everything, because that's what all the game plan comes into play. And once you realize that you can see a code in this dating game, I'll show you what it is, and apply it into a system. That's when a game plan comes into play. Man, there is nothing that will be able to stop you. Trust me. Here's a little bone I gotta pick with certain people. And those kind of people are called dating experts. And I'm talking about those kind of dating experts who just say they know what women want, but they've never actually tested it out themselves. And I'll give you an example. There's a lot of guys out there who think they know what women want, and they write books and they give advice in magazines and on TV shows, and you know, that's fine. But if you are a dating expert and you cannot even prove your own claims that they work, then you're just full of shit. Pardon my French, but this is just the way I see them. And to be honest, man, if you have a dating expert and he does some research or writes a book about what women want, for instance, and he says, well, if you really want to make a woman to like you, you got to pay her a lot of compliments, for instance. I know it's a stupid example, but that's just like one of many. And those are actually happening out there right now. And if you have not, as an expert, you have not tested this out yourself, and you can't prove it, that it, your advice is BS. And this is exactly what happened to me many, many years ago. As a last attempt to actually sort out my dating life, until I just ditched absolutely everything and went onto my own path, trying to figure out what works myself, I turned to these experts for help. And I read a lot of books and I followed a lot of their advice, and pretty much it all sums up, their advice sums up as pay a woman compliments, be nice, pay her drinks so she may like you, be respectful, never ever push a woman to get what you want, and give her a lot of space and respect her feelings, and tell her that you love her, that you like her, blah 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 blah, right? But did it work? No. So I actually asked these guys, these experts, hey look, I tried your stuff out. To be fair, I tried it out a lot of times, but every single time it didn't work. Women said they just want to be friends with me. They thought I was weird, I was creepy. You know, when you're being nice and clingy and being a complete wussbag. And that's what these people told me, that's what I should do. And I said, well look, this doesn't work. And you told me that this stuff will work. Why does it not work then? Yeah, well, I don't know. So basically they give you any kind of excuse. And this is what really pisses me off. That you have a lot of dating experts who give bad advice. And I'll tell you what's wrong with them, because this is what these guys don't know. They do not jump into the cold water and swim with the sharks. And they do a lot of research, and they may ask a lot of women. Here's a good example. There was one guy who asked, I don't know, about 3,000 women, what is it that you want in a guy? And it all pretty much boiled down to, they all said, well, I want a nice guy who's funny. Yeah? And you know the whole nice guy thing and be funny, okay, we can agree on that. But here's the difference. This is what women said they want, not what they are actually attracted to in the real world when you do it that way. You know, when you try to be nice and be a little bit of a goofball, does that work? No, obviously not. So you go back and ask dating expert, hey, look, this is what women said they want, but have you actually tested this out? Well, no, I just done the research. Yeah, well, great. How do you actually know this will work when somebody actually does this stuff? You know what I'm saying? This is one of the biggest pawns I got to pick in this industry. And this is what I try to differentiate myself, because I'm out there. I'm doing this stuff. I test it out before I actually tell you it will work. And you may have noticed when you're being a member of my university that I only pick people who I can vouch for. This is why I want the quality standard like up till here. I really don't want to pitch a lot of stuff that just doesn't work. And there's a lot of dating experts out there who are in fact good and they test the stuff out. But for every one guy who knows what happens or what actually does work with women, there's about a gazillion other guys who are just talking out of their ass. And excuse my language, but that's just the way it is. So please do not listen to people, as a general rule, who have not tested it out themselves and can actually prove that they work. All their claims they make, you need to be able to back this up. Another common trap a lot of folks fall into is that they listen to their friends or friends of friends or just people who, although they want to help, are just as bad as you may be at some point in your life with women, and they give a lot of bad advice. Because what you have to ask yourself is, does that advice work for that person? Okay? And this happened to me a lot of years ago, and then many times over, that I was listening to some of my friends and was seeking their advice on women. And even though it wasn't their best intent and they just wanted to help, the advice was just very bad. And you can usually detect this by the way of looking at the person and see if they are successful with women or not. And I give you a quick example. One of my friends gave me an icebreaker he said actually works really well for him. And it was, you just go up to women and ask them what time it was. And use that as an excuse to light up a conversation. You know, you go like, hi, excuse me, do you know what time it is? Or do you know what time the club closes? You know, it's a shitty excuse, and it's completely the way a nice guy and a clean guy would do it. And even though it might get you into certain groups with women and you can start having a small conversation, there's no attraction whatsoever, and it's a really lame excuse, and women are really not that stupid. They've heard it over and over again. And the person who gives you this advice usually is not as successful as you think he is. So you need to look out for that. And what I suggest is just cherry pick the advice when it comes to your friends, for instance, and start analyzing it a little bit more and ask yourself, is this actually working for that person? Okay? Because you need to, at this stage, you already know what works, and now it's time to filter out all that junk that you've been taught in the past, so you can advance your learning curves, and just your success should be able to skyrocket through the roof right away.